Hello, friends. My name is Christy Rice, and if this is your first time here, you need to know that I am obsessed with watercolor, and I believe that watercolor has the power to bring true, deep, unshakable joy into our lives. And so while I'm going to teach you all the how-tos and whens and shoulds and with whats, I'm going to do it in the headspace of how can I bring you more joy in watercolor. So today it is my birthday at the time of this live. If you are on Team Replay, I welcome you with a big heart and open arms, because Team Replay is exciting because you get to see all of the conversations that have been going on in the live comment section and below in the normal comment section, friends. And it is exciting because some of the best conversations happen there. So go ahead, if you are Team Replay, and just give us a hey in comments and get involved in the conversation. So since it's my birthday, I am going to paint, like the title says, whatever I want, basically for as long as I want. Yeah, how indulgent, right? But I have to say, it's all about the dahlias these days, friends. It's all about my dahlias. So I am going to be painting dahlias today. I'm going to go ahead and get us down to the painting table because you've had enough of this. Okay. So I'm going to show you a little sampling of what I have today. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm just going to run with it, friends. I'm just going to run with it. I plucked this one out of the garden this morning. Don't ask me names because I don't know them. I don't. And I am going to start off with Legion Stonehenge Cold Press. I have talked a lot about this paper. I love this paper. It just has very specific things that it's good at. And it's really, really good at loose, fun, kind of 1-2 layer watercolors. So let's just get started because this little bad boy is just so ridiculously fun. I have a bunch of palettes here today. I've got Azzaro. So I've got my Azzaro palette here. I'll give you a looky-loo at that. This is in one of my own palette designs that we have made just for our shop. I think they're coming back for the holiday. Anywho, and I need to squeeze a little bit of, I normally don't like shimmery watercolors. However, this Azzaro, it's called Eternal Summer. So you can see that there. This one, I think this, or no, this wasn't shimmery. No, this one's shimmery. I think we'll find out soon enough. This one stole my heart. The first and last time I painted with it. I used a ton, like so much so that I had to refill this little well, as I'm doing right now. Now, will I use this today? Who knows? You're probably like, well, no, you won't, because that's a coral dahlia, crazy lady. But you know how I roll. And if you're new here, you're about to find out how I roll. And how I roll is a little wild. A little wild. Okay, so I've got Azzaro. And I've also got, this is kind of a little bit of an art haul thrown in here. I've got beam paints, which I am not new to. However, I am new to this format, which these are little, I don't know the proper words for it, but they're like little paper rounds, because this is a company, and everybody and anybody correct me, but I believe this is a company out of Canada. Indigenous owners, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm correct on that. Really amazing company to support, and the paints are just divine. I have another palette of theirs. It's on like a 2x4, and it's all little dots, and the dots make up the word love you. So cute. But the one thing I did find with that is that I wanted more access to more paint more quickly. So exciting thing, in ChristyRice.com, we're going to be offering some of their shimmery palettes for the holiday season, which I'm super dupes excited about. But I've got this fun little collection here, and I'm going to try to use that today. And of course, for this occasion, I'm whipping out a brand new, brand spanking fresh Art for Joy's Sake palette, just because I felt like it. I felt like it. Please tell me, I never can figure out how to get the paintbrushes and palettes and paints to order at a discount. So if you're talking about my sets specifically, the only time we offer them at a discount is around launch time. And there are some select times where we randomly, I actually might be doing it soon for the palettes, like when I want to get my rankings up in Amazon a little bit. I do giveaways, and that it's a long story, but it helps. So the best way to be notified about that is to get on my email list, which if you look in the description of this video, you're going to see join my never annoying email list. Okay. And click on that link. And the nice thing about that, friends, and this is for anybody, if you're not already on there, I'm now offering a exclusive video that you're going to get access to once you join that email list, which is fun. It's about, I think it's, gosh, almost an hour-long video. And so we announce giveaways there. We also follow me on Instagram. Yeah. And now I will say this, and this isn't a sales ploy, but if you want to be the absolute first to know about discount opportunities, I do my patrons on Patreon, and there's information below about how to become a patron and what you get in return and all that kind of stuff. My patrons are indeed the first to know about the discounts that do pop up. Now, friends, I am just going at it with this 3/4 inch dagger and just doing kind of a press, drag, and lift. I am kind of switching up the colors every time I go ahead and touch the paper. A little bit of yellow, add a little more orange. And I'm just really using kind of the curved edge of that brush to lay down the color. And also, for whatever reason, my hands are a little shaky today. I don't know why, but it's actually working in my favor. So I'm here for it. I love double loading brushes. I love twisting the brush between my fingers because you get some really nifty results when you do that. And, I had somebody ask me the other day, they're like, Chrissy, I have, they were, have some just physical limitations in their handshake. And they're asking me kind of like, what types of artwork to create that might be, akin to someone whose hand shakes a little bit. And I was thinking, like, honestly, all the artwork, because a little bit of a quiver, a little bit of that like twist or wiggle or movement in your hands can sometimes like bring on some of the most delightful, like unexpected, happy, joyful little happy accidents. So, and if you want to kind of push that, hold your brush out further away from the ferrule. Like I'm holding it in the upper third here because I very specifically want that like less control. Now I want a little bit more control now because I'm going to go in and do some contrast detailing. I don't like the way that petal landed in terms of its shape. It's a little bit of an awkward shape. So I'm going to stamp. I'm going to do a little lifting here. Now with Stonehenge paper, you just want to be, it's a great paper, but you want to be a little bit lighter handed with it. The texture just feels a little softer to me in general. So I feel like it's definitely not as thirsty as, say, an Arches paper. Yep. I'm doing some fun experiments for Legion right now. I'm really actually behind on them because of our family's current situation. Some of you know. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. I'm going to check out some comments here in a moment. I feel the need. I feel the need for the fluorescent. I'm missing it right now, so I'm getting into it. All right, let's see here. Yeah. Ooh, I just, folks probably wonder, do you paint with any other palette other than, your own? And I do. Friends, if you're just popping on, thank you for being here. I'm just painting whatever I want to paint today for as long as I want to paint it because it's my birthday. Go shorty. It's my birthday. Is that how that song goes? You may be here. I may break into song today. You just never know. Might give you a little surprise and break into song. I'm just dragging out some color. I mixed a little bit of my fuchsia from my palette in with that fluorescent that was just lingering on the mixing tray. A little bit of that. Oh, look at how I smeared. Ugh. It wouldn't be a day painting with Christy if she didn't smear something, because that's just how I roll. Glazing on a little bit of this fluorescent with just whatever's hanging out there on the mixing tray. And oh, this is nice. I'm dragging, look at that, dragging some of the wet, because everything is damp here right now, friends. I'm dragging it out and it's creating some of those fun lines that I love so much. All right, purple, blue, brown, a little bit of water, red, a little more red. And I want to get into these crevices. I almost feel like I want to go over here and get some of this magenta and some of whatever this is. A little more magenta. There we go. And yes, I will cross-pollinate and mix in other palettes. This is still quite wet, so I'm barely going to touch the paper because I do want to lay some more color down at this stage, but I know because it's wet, quite wet, quite damp, it's going to travel a lot. So I want to be careful about how much traveling I allow the color to do. Get some little moments of super dupe darkness in here to start defining. She's so pretty. That is just a pretty flower, isn't it? I wish I knew the name, but I don't. Elizabeth says, you have the most beautiful flowers from your garden. Just moved to Florida and I don't know what I can grow here. It's 90 this week. Ah, yuck. And the flowers, this one is from my garden, but my mom also, you want to talk about like beautiful flowers, like her garden. I always say it's got to be because, I mean, my mom and dad were never like the Woodstock hippie types, if that makes any sense. They were like country music hippies and making their own, you know, bread and candles and organic gardening in the 70s. So my dad, the soil that my dad is planting in is like, you know, because it was being planted in before I was born. So it's like, oh, you know, coming on 50 years or maybe even 50 years already, that soil's been turned over, frozen over, you know, rotated. It is the most like glorious soil that he is working in. So I always say, like, I got a long time to wait until my piddly little garden produces the kind of stuff that his garden does, because my soil's young. Let's just add a little bud. Round, little lazy, scratchy round moment. And then I'm going to take some green from this Azzaro palette and go around it. I'm going to bump into that pink in some areas and then not in others. I'm going to make it uneven. That's a cute little bud. And let's just do a green. Load up this number 6 travel brush round with green and then tap into that burgundy. I don't really know what it's going to do, but let's see. It didn't do much, so I'm going to bring a little more of that burgundy in. That's fun. Rinse. I'm going to do a little, because I almost want, yeah, let's see how this feels. That's fun. Why not? That's fun. Well, why do somebody gave me an angry emoji. What did I do? What did I do? Oh, thank you, Jennifer. All right, and then I feel like we need a little bit of this little bright pink over here from the Art for Joy's Sake palette. Would you believe that little like bit of brown that was in my red actually was like bothering me? I think because this is like a brand new Art for Joy's Sake palette, I'm just like, I'm feeling like I want to keep it super pristine, at least for a little while. A little bit of that burgundy-ish color that I played around with before. That's weird. Why'd I do that? I don't know. So you got to talk yourself. Got to talk yourself through these moments. I don't have a lot of dahlia leaves hanging out with me today, so I'm just going to kind of make some stuff up in terms of leaves. I have found this 3/4 inch dagger to be so, it's like my bestie for leaves, bigger leaves, you know, in bigger compositions. It's just become such a reliable brush to make leaves that make me really happy, make me joyful, unshakable joy. And yeah, I am. I'm bringing in purple because I'm loving this fall vibe. I'm loving this. It's weird. This flower, like when I was holding it in my hands, it didn't feel as muted as it's feeling on the page, but it's accurate, right? Like it's kind of accurate. Like I feel like maybe we could glaze a little bit of orange. Maybe we do orange. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of fluorescent for some zingy zing. And just kind of cover some, yeah, oh yeah, because see, it's got like a glowiness that's happening. We want to capture some of that, even a little more glow, which means a little more fierce, a little more fierce. Yeah, okay, that's more accurate. Ooh, but it's still very fall. It's got like a fall, cozy, I should be sipping the hot chocolate kind of vibe. Chai, no, chai latte, I don't like hot chocolate. Watercolor was the first medium that I ever stuck with and like really went into deeply, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, but I was dabbling in all the things. Does anybody remember? There used to be, I mean, because my mom would just like take me to the craft store, I feel like weekly when I was young. There used to be this stuff and it came in like little bottles and they were like little plastic pellets that you could melt and then like sculpt around things. So for like example, I would like melt this stuff down and like kind of build it around like a Bic ballpoint pen and make the pen look all cool and sculptural. And when it was all done and I had all these pellets melted and then sculpted around the Bic, it didn't even look like a Bic anymore. It just looked like a cool, like new pen. Does anybody remember that stuff? Like, what the heck was that called? I don't know. But yeah, I used to do all the crafty things. Like I remember my mom and I would like dry orange slices and back in what was that in the 80s? It was like ducks and Williamsburg blue and all the wooden stuff you hang on your wall that said welcome and lots of ducks. And then the Falstaff like plates. I'm like having a nostalgia moment here. But yeah, and like you like strung together like dried orange slices and cinnamon sticks and tied them with like really like frayed ribbon. Am I like conjuring like nostalgic imagery for anybody else? Where are my what generation am I? I'm Gen X. Where are my Gen Xers? Yeah. So I was always doing something with art, but watercolor, I remember when my art teacher, I mean, I had always had like Crayola watercolors before I started taking lessons proper. But I remember when, my mom signed me up for lessons and she got me like whatever my teacher recommended. So I think it was Cotman's and like, I think my first watercolor paper was Strathmore 300. Sorry. I don't like it. Brush, the brushes. Oh gosh, what was the name of the brush? It was, they don't even make them anymore, but like I have such nostalgia for those brushes. Aqua Tips, I think they were called. And I remember when I first touched that watercolor, after only having used Crayolas forever, that's all I knew. I remember when I first touched that Cotman to the page, when it was wet, I was like, what is this sorcery? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you are, Elizabeth. You're still Gen X. Absolutely. Oh, Michelle, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy watching me. I'm much more like chill today because like I don't have plans, Stan. I'm just here, you know, being artistically indulgent because it's my birthday, and I'm just chit chatting. So I apologize in advance if I'm not like teaching as much as I normally do, but you know, just kind of going with the flow. It's been a rough week for my fam. We don't have to get into it, but yeah. But no matter what, somebody messaged me, maybe you're here, I don't know, and they said, you know, no matter what's going on in your life, your birthday is still your birthday and it's a time to celebrate. And some, you know, I'm just paraphrasing, of course. I'm getting into it with the liner brush, friends. If you hadn't noticed, I'm a big fan, and I'm just going into the darkest color here in my Azzaro palette. Got a little bead of pigment on the end. That means there's too much on your brush. And I'm just going in. My brush is very dry right now. Is it almost too dry? I don't know. Because like I'm looking at these like nooks and crannies. Like when, I mean, this center of this flower is like super dimensional. You see that? See that? Super dimensional. So I'm trying to create that vibe. And what I need to create is a sense of it, of depth, right? Of that, all those nooks and crannies just going down in. So I'm finding that little dashes, little dabs, press and lifts, little squiggles, and I am holding the brush pretty far down, right? Thank you, Ivy. Thank you. Was that you, Jennifer? Yeah. Yeah. So no matter, you know, what's going on, friends, if you're watching on replay, my father-in-law passed on September 24th of 2023. He was 91. And so we are just in that really weird time. We're waiting for the services to happen. They're happening this weekend. And he was just a wonderful man. And yeah. So God bless my husband. The memorial services are on his birthday. My husband's birthday is Saturday. And my husband's like, I don't care. I don't need any more of these birthdays. And I'm like, you, sir, sound like your dad. So he was the kind of man, like he could, I wrote on Facebook, he could spin a yarn. I mean, he loved to tell stories, right? I always kind of had that even from early days when I first was brought into the family. I always had that affinity with him because I myself try to think I'm a storyteller. And but man, he could tell a story. I mean, like 1 second he'd be telling you about some seeds or something or some kind of dirt he was finding somewhere, and it was like so ridiculously boring. You were like, are we really talking about dirt? And then the next thing you know, the conversation, it was like he was weaving this tale. Next thing you know, we're talking about like, you know, grandpa whoever and whatever making dandelion wine and selling it to the neighborhood kids. So like you'd have this like super boring story, and then it would just turn into something absolutely hysterical, magical, slightly unnerving, you know, because times were different then on the farm. And so just, you could always count on him for some type of like little like lyrical narrative journey when you're talking to him. And even towards the end, couldn't hear really well. And my husband would have conversations with him. He would use a whiteboard and he would write questions. Ever since he started getting really ill back in March, my husband was just trying to get him to tell as many stories as possible. Please, if those in your life that mean a lot to you, just ask them questions. I felt such an urgency. My Aunt Susie was over the other day. And it's funny. I'm just realizing it now. Sorry. It's my birthday. I can talk about what I want. But she was here hours before Jaju. That's what we called him. That was his name for Grandpa. She was here hours before he passed. We had no idea that he was going to pass that night. And for whatever reason, I felt extremely compelled to ask my Aunt Susie, and she's 70. What is she, 75? 70? She's mid-70s at least. I'm so bad at remembering ages. And I started asking her, I'm like, Aunt Susie, what were your Christmases like when you were a kid? And I asked her, what were your summers like? Like, what was the big deal in the summers? And I'm thinking back to that right at this moment. I'm like, why did I feel so compelled to ask her those kind of questions that I had never asked her before? And so it brings me to my point that I started to make very, very poorly just a few moments ago. Just those that are still in your life, get them to tell you their stories. Get them to tell their stories. Gosh, because I wish I had more time. I thought we would have another holiday with them, and we had more time to ask them to tell us more stories, because I know there are stories that we never got told. So anyhow, sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but yeah. Anywho, thanks for listening. Record. Yes, my husband. Yes, I'm so glad you said that. My husband did record a lot of the stories. My father-in-law started taking a turn for the worse March 6th of this year, and he would go to the hospital every day and spend hours. And he started recording some of the stories. So our memories are precious gifts. Yes. It's a Dahlia, Michelle. I don't know the actual type, though. He was such a cool person, Jazz. Yeah, he was. Thank you, Kate Walton, from the Birthday Wishes. Gail Burns. I'm so glad to spend my day with y'all. I am. So important. Absolutely. Loving this fall vibe. I really am. I'm just obsessed with this color palette right now. Can I just tell you? I feel like I love the buds, but I do feel like they're a little heavy. So I think I'm going to strengthen up the stem. I'm going to show you a fun way that I do that. It's definitely a stylized way. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to mirror this line here. So I'm right over here. I'm going to mirror this, come down, mirror it. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to mirror it down all the way down, right? And then grab a little bit more of the green. And then I'm going to need to extend this a little bit. So I always make sure that the stem widens at the point, hi hands, widens at the point where it meets the bud. It just makes for a more convincing kind of connection, right? And then I love to do these little smiley faces along the curvature of the stem. Yep. And they're scratchy and they're imperfect, but that's going to give that stem, thank you, Elizabeth, gives that stem a little more structure, right? A little more structure. And a little more heft, visual heft. I have never said those two words together, visual heft, but it works. And makes this structure here make a little more sense. Yeah, love that. The thing I love about the liner brush is that no matter how well you become at, oh my gosh, how comfortable you become using the brush, no matter how comfortable, you're never going to be able to fully control that brush, right? And what comes of that when you give into that, right? Comes these just lovely little lines that you could have never planned for. And I want to bring this down even more to show you. So like right here, I've got this like big blob of paint. Can you see that? But it's okay. And it actually looks cool. And it gives this some character. So, cake. Yeah. I'm sure there's cake in my future today. My sweet husband, God bless him. He comes in this morning. He took the kids to school, and it's his dad that passed, right? And brings me grocery store flowers, and I'm saying grocery store because you know what? He often gets me flowers from like our local florist that we love, like the florist that we use for everything. And like, I will always love that florist, but the grocery store flowers were so beautiful. I'm like, honey, you can keep getting me grocery store flowers because I love them. And he brought me something I never eat anymore, but my favorite is a chocolate chip bagel with strawberry cream cheese, like my absolute favorite. And he brought me one, so I had to eat it. And I'm glad I did. It was delightful. It was delightful. Danielle, no. Reading these comments and stories are so heartwarming. Christy, you created some magic today by sharing your loss with us, your stories, and your stunning painting. Thank you, Danielle. Gosh, I feel like I'm just blubbering. At least I'm not crying. I'm not crying. Elizabeth, why aren't you brave enough to use better paper? Why? Elizabeth, if I send you a block of awesome paper, will you use it? Will that take the weight off? And I'm putting you on the spot. I know I am, but this is from my heart. Because listen, Legion sent me a ton of paper. I want to send you a block of good paper. But you have to promise to use it and show me what you painted on it. Will you do that? Let me know. Go ahead and send, thanks, Elizabeth. I can cry if I want to. Go ahead and send your shipping address to hello@christyrice.com. Attention, Kristen. We have a lot of K's in our business. But attention, Kristen, and just let her know that you were on a live with me and that I want to send you a block of really good watercolor paper. And then she'll know what to do. Will you do that for me? Yeah. Good. And it's not a money thing, right? This is like, I feel like sometimes, but well, maybe it is like you invest in the good stuff, but then you feel like you have so much to live up to. Like you put all the good supplies on this massive pedestal, right? I get that. Hey, I had Saunders watercolor paper in my possession. What's that called? I think it's called Saunders, right? Let me see if I have it here. I had that in my possession for months before I used it. So even I get it, even if it's a little more subconscious. Yeah. So go ahead and send that email and we'll get you some good paper that it's just free paper to you. So you know what? If you waste it, if you ruin it, you haven't lost a thing. Okay? That's the plan, Stan. But stay in touch. Let me know what you paint on it. Okay. Cool. I feel like doing another one. I really like this one. But it's time. Actually, wait. I can't leave it like this. I can't. It needs just a little more structure. I'm using the very tip of my travel brush here, which comes to a ridiculously fine point. You see that up here? I'm up here. See how fine of a point that comes to? So I'm just using the tip of that and just some darker moments. And then I want some really bright red in here as well. Okay. I'm happy to leave it like that. It is not done. This painting is not done. But I'm going to leave it like that because I want to move on. I want to paint this yellow. Look at her. Can we just talk about my love affair with the centers of flowers? Like, Look at that. I wish I had a Trader Joe's because they always have the best flowers. Because I believe Trader Joe's like sources from like local farms and stuff, in addition to other means. But yeah. How do you know what kind of paper to use for what project? Like I thought that there was just watercolor paper until I learned about cold press, hot press. Yeah. Such a great question. So the most simplistic side of that, answer to that question is traditionally, I'm pausing because there's so many ways I can answer this. Traditionally, cold press is a more thirsty paper. It's going to hold more water. If you want to do a lot of layers, if you want to do, if you want to beat up the paper, right? If you don't think you're going to do a ton of realistic detail, cold press is a great choice. Hot press is better if you can still do a lot of layering. But it's not as thirsty of a paper. It doesn't hold as much water. It's not great for big washes. Like even the best hot press, like Arch's hot press, too much water, too big of a wash, you're gonna see pilling happen. Yeah, it's weird. So that's kind of the baseline of it. Then you get into just different manufacturers. Like I mentioned, Stonehenge Legion will fight back on you a little bit if you try to do a lot of realistic layer after layer after layer of glazing. You can do it. So I tend to use it for a lot more of my illustrative, splashy, 1 or 2 layer type of super loose modern watercolor stuff. Like I have this little case for making watercolor. It's cold press watercolor paper. I don't believe it's 100% cotton. It would say it if it was. And I struggled with it until I discovered that how it best worked. So like cellulose papers, wood pulp papers that are traditionally seen as not the best do have a place in this world, and I use them all the time. So for example, if you're doing ink and wash or line and wash, like if I'm going to do a little pencil-y sketchy do, I got to get this out of the way. It's just in the way. So like a more affordable paper that's not 100% cotton, for example, is going to be great for your looser work or your work that's less water on the page. I could wax poetic about this for a long time, but that's the gist of it. Yeah. Grocery store flowers are the best. Thank you, Michelle, for the happy birthday. Diane says, Christy, you are the sweetest. I've just started watercolor painting about 3 weeks ago. Hey, can we get 3 cheers for Diane who started 3 weeks ago? Oh my gosh, I'm like thinking of like Anne of Avonlea where, 3 cheers for Anne Shirley who just won the whatever award. Hip, hip, hooray. I love Anne of Avonlea and Anne of Green Gables. Anyway, I digress. And you've made some good and some bad, of course, but paper is important. I just need better brushes. Time to invest. Well, good news. If you haven't gotten my brushes yet, sorry, gratuitous plugging of my own product, but mine are pretty affordable. Just saying. And I've been told, and I also I've only been using my brushes exclusively for the last like 3+ years. Definitely plus years. And I love them. I have all the good ones. I have Rosemary & Co. I have the silver velvet, whatever the heck. Great brushes, but I love my synthetics. I do. I use other paints. I don't just use my palette, but I don't use other brushes. All right, let's do this bad boy. I've got my my jumbo pencil here, Faber-Castell, which I love because it doesn't come to a perfect point ever because the lead is so big. So it forces me to loosen up. And I'm going to just do a little continuous line drawing here of this bad boy. Top down again because I don't feel like dealing with 3/4 views today. It's my birthday. I don't gotta. Love, love, love her brushes. Thank you, Natalie. All right, starting with the center. Like I said, I'm going to do a little continuous line. As continuous as I feel like it. And you see those beam paints coming down into view, which means I'm going to start pulling some of them out because they're lovely. I love a continuous line. sketch. When I do these, friends, the idea is to just keep your eyes going back and forth between the page and your subject matter. And the thing is, you're never looking at either one of those things continuously for much time at all. But because you're going back and forth so quickly, you start to develop a good impression. Now, see, I lifted my pencil, but I don't care. It's okay. I make the rules here. Because you're going back to the page so often and so quickly with your pencil. So I'm looking here, I'm looking there, I'm looking here, I'm looking there. You can probably see my eyes. If you look on the face cam, you can probably see my eyes, what they're doing. They're not doing it right now because I'm putting in the stem just from memory. But you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You start to get a pretty solid impression of what the heck you've got here, right? All right. I love this creamy yellow. It's opaque. It's definitely got white in the formulation. It's not bright, but I want to get some of it. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Yes. So not a lot of water. I need some fluorescent because when do I not need fluorescent? Where did that come from? Something dirty on my palette. Friends, I took my supplements just before this live started. So if you've noticed, I got a little B12 action in there. There's like a mushroom supplement I take for energy. It's kicking in. Yeah. That was dang cool. Fast flower drying. Yeah. And it's fast. Yeah. Yeah. I love Fabriano, Nicole. Heck yeah. Friends, if you ever wonder why on lives that like I seem to like know some of y'all like a little bit more based on like how I'm talking, it's because some relationships, some lovely relationships are being built and fostered in our Patreon community. Again, not a sales pitch, but I do want you to know about it, especially if you're new here. I do have a Patreon membership. The link is in the description below. Lot of fun stuff, extra exclusive video every month, very straightforward kind of how-to type situation. We do downloads monthly based on your tier where you get a creativity challenge, watercoloring page downloads that you can either trace onto watercolor paper or print, depending on what you have available to you at home. And so it's just a wonderful community. And yes, we've gotten to know each other. So Nicole is super active in our Patreon community. We have a Discord for all tiers on Patreon. Now, friends, I'm going in here to where these petals intersect and kind of darkening. So this is almost like neurographic art a little bit, but with pencil and watercolor and kind of backwards. So I'm going in where some of these lines intersect, and where they intersect, I'm making them a little darker. And the result is really fun. I did this in a private lesson. I do have a private tier where it's one-on-one. It's not cheap, but it's one-on-one where I develop a lesson plan just for you, 90 minutes. There's a 15-minute prep call that is never 15 minutes. The last one I did, we did prep for an hour, and I didn't charge anymore because I was having fun. Anyway, I developed this particular technique just for her. And then she gave me permission, of course, to share it publicly. But really fun. So let me take a look at paint stones. I'm looking at comments. Y'all, I think I have ADHD. Did I tell you the story where Tammy K, we all know Tammy. Did I tell you the story ever where she was like, we were on a brainstorm call for one of our lives. And she's like, Christy, are you ADHD by chance? And like, I think she thought I was going to be offended. I'm like, no, but honestly, sometimes I wonder, and I'm not saying this like for anyone who's actually diagnosed, but I do believe if I went and did whatever you got to do to get diagnosed, it probably would be. Because, yeah. I hope that wasn't offensive. I certainly did not mean it to be, but truly. But because of my job and what my job entails in this world, it actually works for me really well. Leslie says, I love the Patreon. Great that we have a chance to interact with other watercolor lovers, sharing our work and getting feedback from members. And Christy is very valuable. It's a good experience. Thank you, Leslie. Jess says, yeah, Jess says, I'm diagnosed. You could be. Yeah. 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 Just, yeah. But I work, it's okay. It's all right. Tammy said something interesting. I'm just, again, going in here and I'm just darkening the intersection of some of these lines. Hi, Pam. And she said for a part of the population, ADHD actually is incredibly valuable. And she said, you are a perfect example of that. And I was like, gosh, that makes sense, So anyhow, how did we get there? It's because I can't carry on a conversation that like follows a linear thought ever. Yeah. Older adult, Pam. Yeah. I am using an 8B pencil. I feel it's a little dark. I don't think you'd have to go this dark. Good. Yeah. See, 21, your son has ADHD and is doing great. Yeah. I'm doing good, Jazz. I'm fine. It's working for me. Like, I actually don't, like, if I have it, I don't want to, like, I don't know what. I don't want to change. What's that song? Edie Brickell. Philosophy is a walk on a slippery rock. Religion. Yeah. What I am. I am what I am. I'm not aware of too many things. Know what I know, if you know what I mean. See? I'm singing. And that means I'm happy. I'm getting in my zone. I'm adding in some. So this flower in particular. Oh, the meds help you concentrate. That's not a bad thing. Thank you for that clarity. That would not be a bad thing. Mm-hmm. This flower has the most delightful little twirls and curls and, and so I am creating those in some areas here, like with some like lines, just one on top of another. I'm going to do one here. Yeah, just fun. Yeah. Yeah, most creatives are on some sort of ADHD spectrum. Well, then amen and hallelujah. Yeah, good paper scares me. New paints don't, but I understand her fears about wasting good paper. I understand the fears, y'all. Pam says, I took Christy's advice, got good paper, and have no regrets. See? Pam, let us know in comments. Like, did you create something on that paper and feel like it was a disaster? And how did you handle it mentally? Let me know. Classy Vegan says, I found a fairly affordable good paper on Amazon that I really like, and I don't feel bad wasting it. B paper. Great. See? Friends, I got to ask, if you're having a good time, I would so appreciate a like on this video. Likes are a great way to show your support and let the YouTube's algorithm know that you're having a good time and that other people need to be here having themselves a good time as well. So I would love it. Go ahead and boop the like button, as I love to say. And then also just keep up the conversation in comments. That's what brings me the most joy and really becomes such a treasure trove of information for those who come back and are watching later. Keep up those conversations. I'm getting into it. I'm getting jiggy with it here with the liner brush. Na 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 na. That's how that song goes, right? Getting jiggy with it. Is that Will Smith? That was Will Smith, wasn't it? Good old Will. He's somebody I think I might want to meet. Not sure how that would go, but I'd like to meet him. I'd also really like to, what's that question? It's like the dinner party question, like, who, living or not living, would you want to have dinner with? And it's such a cliche question, but at the same time, I love answering it. And I still say, like, my number one is Georgia O'Keeffe. But I'll tell you what, I don't think Georgia would tolerate me very well. Like, I feel like I'd be too much for her. Like, I talk like I've met her before. I feel like I've met her. But I think I'd be too much for Georgia. You know, she moved out to that ranch. I'm thinking she moved out there not because she liked people who were a lot. She probably moved out there because she was like over people who were a lot. And I am a lot. So anywho, let me know in comments, like, who would be your number one? Let's keep it to artists though. Like, if you could sit and have lunch, meet, bump into anyone, living or otherwise, artist, who would it be? And don't you dare say me, because no, somebody like real. Okay, I want to know. Go ahead, let me know in comments. Okay, enough for her. That was fun. Monet. Okay, 2 Monets. Carol finally ordered Academy cold press. Wonderful. So curious to see how. Compared to Canson. Oh, you're gonna get ready for a party on your painting table. Bob Ross, my grandmother. Oh, Impressionism. Yeah, Miriam, I love that. Why do people like Temu? Why don't people like Temu? So we're having some trouble with Temu in the art world. I'm just going to chime in here. I know you didn't ask me, but I am going to chime in just so you can understand. And I actually have a video on this channel that I decided to keep up. I have a video on this channel that I decided to keep up. It was a Temu haul in very early days of Temu hauls. I think I was the first Temu fine art haul. There were a lot of crafting, sewing, stamping hauls. I think I was the first like fine art supply. But anyway, I've kept it up, but I did put a comment there, a pinned comment. So the thing with Temu, unfortunately, and I'm not going to discuss like data safety and all that, because I don't know enough about that. But the thing with Temu is that it's a breeding ground unfortunately, for copycats, dupes, lookalikes, that is creating a lot of market confusion. And also just creating, because some people don't care. Some people are like, oh, cool, look at that brush set on Temu looks enough like Christie's and it's way cheaper. I'm going to go for it. And that's okay if that's what you can afford. But at the same time, I'm fighting like the Dickens to keep them off of there, because that's my idea. That's my colors. That's my blood, sweat, and tears, and my intellectual property. So Temu is a breeding ground for dupes, for copycats, for intellectual property shenanigans. And that's why I will no longer shop with them. Except I have a caveat. I will buy from brands. So one great example, and it's really the only example that I know, is Academy watercolor paper, because I ordered a ton of Academy from Temu, and it was legit. It was the real deal. It was from the company. So I will, because the prices were good. So I will continue to order like that from Temu. But I'm just going to be super careful about what I order. Using my number 12 round from the Free from Fear brush collection. Wet on dry here. Always starting with the center, y'all. Always. I'm going to load up with yellow, and then I'm going to double dip into the fuchsia. I'm going to start work press and twist and drag. This is Academy. Wow, I'm quiet. It's a flippin' miracle. I'm holding the brush almost perpendicular. It feels right. I'm going to start bringing in a little bit of purple because we're getting a strong purple vibe here, right? The way the lights hit, I thought I almost was going to push something right off of my painting table. Honestly, Sue, with the Temu thing, I actually think the name brands are the safer thing to get. Here's what I would say. If you want to be a responsible Temu shopper, because I'm not going to sit here and say don't buy from Temu, but if you want to be a responsible Temu shopper, so for example, they have, if you search watercolor on there, one of their vendors has these adorable, I'm not going to lie, they are adorable. They're like little Altoid tin size or even smaller, you know, the smaller tins that are like an Altoid-ish kind of vibe. And they've got printed artwork on the outside, and they've got little quarter pans inside, empty. Like $2.50, $2.50. Where did that come from? Anyway, so cute, but I refuse to buy them. And I'm going to tell you why. Because one of the patterns on there is like a really bad, it's not like they took I have a blue and white floral pattern that I have licensed in many places. And it's not like they took it and scanned it from some online place. No, they didn't. They just created their own version of it. And like they changed it. They added like 2 other elements, but it is a very obvious copy of my blue artwork that is licensed in a lot of places. And like, just get your own ideas. Get your own artwork, like whatever. You can go on Fiverr and have somebody design something. And then you can go and do a Google, like, what are they called? Like an image search to make sure the thing that they designed isn't too heavily inspired by someone else's artwork. This isn't hard stuff. So when I see, sorry, I'm yelling, I'm getting really nerved up. So when I see stuff like that, knowing how easy it is to cross-reference now with the technology that we have, the Google image search, and how easy it is to hire artists that are super affordable to create something that is truly, you know, original, it makes me angry, right? So that's, I would say, steer clear of items that look heavily branded, heavily styled, that have printed artwork on them, because it's probably artwork that was created irresponsibly. And I know that's a broad statement. I know it is, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. You know, it's how I feel. But companies that are on there, like Academy, there are legit companies on there that are selling, that are legit, and they're selling at a better price. Who knows? Maybe I don't know how the warehousing works. Maybe Temu is buying really large quantities. I don't know. I don't profess to know how it all works. But I know, just as the example of Academy, it's the real deal, and it's good, and it's fine, and it was cheaper than if I had bought it off Amazon that particular time. So there we go. Mini lesson in responsible Temu shopping. Frugal Crafter, her name's Lindsay, right? She did a fun, well, Well, it was fun, informative, and balanced talk about all this. And so check that out on YouTube's here. That was a really good one. She had nice perspective, similar to mine. I made that center too small. But it's okay. Have you previously, or would you be willing to at some point talk about how to license artwork? I'm vaguely curious how that works. Yeah, I'll talk about it now. So licensing artwork. So I did licensing piecemeal like for years. I would just kind of like, companies would reach out to me, but it was like few and far between, right? So then I started to look into like getting representation. And so I am represented by Wild Apple right now. I think it's called Wild Apple Graphics. But it's not easy to get art representation. Like, you know, having a successful licensing career is difficult. Like, I do not put a lot of time into licensing. If I put more time into it, I think I could be really successful with licensing. So anyway, like I just had a meeting, like I renewed my contract with them and we chatted about it. And it's like, I said, tell me those that you're working, the artists that you're working with that you consider to be your top, you know, top producers, your top money makers. Let's just call a spade, right? That's not a bad thing. I have these little colloquialisms that I say that I grew up with, and I've learned over the years that some of them are really actually offensive, and I've tried to stop using them. So I hope that the spade a spade one is not. If it is, call me out and let me know, and I won't use it again. Anyway, so they said that their most prolific artists that are, you know, making the most living from licensing, they are sending them like 30 to 40 plus new pieces of artwork a month. And like, I could do that. I mean, I paint that much, but right. So, I'm not really answering your question yet, and I want to, so let me do that. So licensing, if you're serious about it, there are some great courses out there, that you can take. But you want to build a collection. You want to have, I know people, a lot of people say you want to have a recognizable style, blah, 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 blah. But their most prolific, Wild Apple's most prolific artist, I won't mention her name, but her collection is full of all different styles. And I love that. She does not have a one trick pony type of style. Like when you think of like Mary Engelbert, right? Did I say that right? No, she's not like that. She does all different styles. And financially, I believe it serves her very well. So that's one myth I want to debunk about art licensing right away. Friends, I am looking for places to add shadows here. I am not looking at this flower at all. Honestly, I'm going to put her back in the water so I don't make her suffer. I'm not even looking at her. I'm not. I didn't make mine as curly as hers. My petals, that is. But I'm okay with that. So anyway, first myth debunked. You don't need to have very specific style. You need, more than anything, you need to be prolific. A prolific creator of the artworks. That's what's really important. But don't wait. Don't wait for folks to come to you. Start reaching out to licensing houses. Just, there's lists online, and present them with your work. It can be as simple as links or images attached, and just be like, I'm interested in representation, and you will start to get feedback. You will. They'll be like, I mean, maybe they'll be like, great, we love you, let's do this, you know. But I actually got feedback from a couple of places that was super helpful. And there are some art licensing places that are going to want you to have a specific style. Just depends on the place. So I would say, number one, start reaching out to places and just do it. Don't wait for some magical time when you're good enough or ready enough. Just do it. And while you're doing it, keep painting. Yeah, that's what I say. Getting in here with the Lana. Getting in there with the Lana. This part is annoying me. Right here. What do I do with it? I talk about this a lot in videos. It comes up in different ways, but like this part is annoying me right here, and it's just ill-defined, and there's some weird, like this intersection here. But you know what? Like, I urge you to do what I'm doing right now. I am resisting the instinct, because it's not really an instinct, it's more of an urge. I'm resisting the urge to try to fix that right now. It doesn't need to be fixed right now. It needs context. So I'm going to let it be and paint some other things here and come back to it. So pretty, right? Get some of that in there. I think I want a side view. She's dying, so I'll let her go. I'm going to do a little side view. I need my cat's tongue. Where are you, my lovely? Yep. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the bomb. Use them to figure out your composition. Anyhow. This is the original cat's tongue, the #1 cat's tongue from the Art for Joy's Sake brush collection. And she comes to less of a point. It's more, I always call it a textural dimensional point. It's a very interesting point by design, and it creates really cool texture. You can shape her to be super specific or more specific, but I designed her to be a little more ragged and dimensional to get some really cool strokes out of her. Des says, I grew up in Northeast PA too most of my life. My family's still there, and you're in Illinois now. So you know all about NEPA. You're okay. We know your heart. I'm from New Orleans, and we have lots of phrases that I've had to rethink using. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Gila, thank you for being here. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I enrolled in a botanical water class, thought I would learn to paint flowers like you, but it's very exact. I have to use a ruler to measure the flower and draw to scale. Honestly, Judith, though, I think that could be helpful. I think that could be lovely. I hope you're enjoying the class. And honestly, I think learning those kind of techniques, drawing to scale, will really inform the more loose paintings that you do outside of the class, right? So enjoy it. Enjoy it. All right, now I'm going from a central point here. I actually really love the marks I made here. Going from a central point up into the damp area with the olive green from my palette. And then let's press and drag. This is dry brush, and I'm loving it. Yes. And then I'm just going to make a hint of where that stem might be and deal with it later. I'm going to leave her alone because I love her as she is. I'm not saying I'm going to leave her like that forever and ever. Amen. But I love that as she is. Now this one, since she's on her way out, I'm going to get her in the most comfortable position for viewing her, which means cutting off the stem. And let's get rid of some of these uglies. I do this a lot. I make flowers last longer this way. When they're in the vase, I'll pull them out of the water and I'll just pull off some of the old stems, and I'll get another couple of days. It's a smaller flower, but look, I'll get another couple of days out of her. Now, obviously, I cut the stem off, so the only thing I could do is float this one, but yeah. Look how pretty that is. Look at how pretty that is. It's so pretty. Going in the garbage, but it's pretty. think one of the things I'm most grateful for, look at that, just look at that. Oh, off camera. One of the things I'm most grateful for at being an artist is being gifted with the ability to see so much more intently and powerfully and mindfully than so much of the world, because it gives me so much more to enjoy. Do you feel that? I feel that. I do. All right. But yeah, look at that one little precious petal. You could even just do a study of that. That would be fun. All right. Now, where do I want to put her? Because we need some balance here. This big boy. Maybe, baby. If you're having fun, friends, whether you're here live or on replay, I would love if you'd go ahead and give this video a boop. That's a like. Really helps me out. Good for the ego. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not. We all have egos. I don't know where my number 6 cat's tongue is, and I'm sad because I wanted to use it. But you know what I'll use instead? I'm going to use my 1/2-inch dagger. Yes, Judith, it's so amazing to look at a flower and see all the amazing colors and shapes. Yes. Said what I said. We're going to go around, press and lift, press and lift. I'm going to keep that brush just always in the same direction, which means I've got to move my hand or the paper. But I always want the point facing out for this first row until I choose to reshape. A little bit of green in the center here. And then I've got my peach is all contaminated. I'm going to keep going. This is not realistic, y'all. It's not meant to be. Just getting I want a feel, a vibe, the essence, the essence of the flower. I'm a terrible gardener, but I would love to grow some nice flowers. I am not a great gardener, and I'm a lazy gardener. Like, I'm not the gal out there pulling all the weeds. Like, I have folks that come and help. I've talked about this before. Like, I didn't even do landscaping until I knew that we could afford people to come and maintain it so I could do the fun stuff. Because I have a hard enough time keeping my indoor plants, like my 150 indoor plants, alive. I do okay. I do better than I used to with those bad boys. I am bringing in a little bit of the pink from here, even though it's not existing here. I just feel like we need a little bit of it. Right? And I'm letting that paint run out. It's creating some interesting moments that I feel excited about. Okay, I'm going to leave her be. Come back to her. I'm going to use some of these Beam Pinky. This pink one is interesting to me. I actually want to use this blue. I may just go for it. I'm going to go get into some fun greenery. Y'all ready for some fun? I don't care how it comes out. Greenery. Are we ready? Are we ready for it? Because I am. Got my beams here. I'm afraid to spray the beams because they're in paper. So I'm just going to, wish I had a dropper. I feel like for the first time, I really need a dropper. I might have to go get one and add it to my little cups here full of all the tricks of the trade. This is how we're gonna do it. I'm just gonna grab a brush, y'all. I'm grabbing the filbert and I'm getting into it. I just love these colors. They're very stylized. Ooh, that's interesting. I like that more dry brush. Look at that little weird end to the leaf that I got. And of course I can't repeat it, but it's okay. Fun. And I'm going to go really stylized. I'm going to do these moody blues. What do I want to do? This is like you're hearing the insides of my brain right now. Interesting. Not sure where that came from. A little more water on my brush, and I'm going to extend this and shape it out some more. Oh my gosh, I love that color. Isn't that gorgeous? I need a bigger brush. So I've been, some people have been asking me like to sing. I got some advice the other week from someone, and she's like, you should just like come on. Like when you go live, you should just be singing. Like people want to see into your weird creative world. So like, is that true? Like, would you want me to just like break out into song even more than I already do? Like, be honest. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Isn't that blue redonkulous? I loved the advice because she was like helping me think through ways to like start lives in a more interesting way. And she was like, you know, we want to see even more of your weird. Like I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, we want to see even more of your weird. And I'm like, are you sure? Now this blue is from my palette, and I decided to paint right over top of that side of the flower, but I'm okay with it. Go for it. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do it because I sing all the time. I sing to my daughter every night. I sing like literally, let me tell you something. My husband was in Philly when we got the call that his dad was just out of the blue declining. And I was the one who tried to get there in time. I didn't get there in time. And I know in my heart that he was not there. He was with his maker and his wife already. But I sang to him. It was like the first thing that came to mind. And I've realized over the years, and I sing in church, I'm going to be singing at his memorial service. I realized it's like another way that I express myself and communicate my feelings. So anyway. Okay, so I'm going to sing a song that I sing to my daughter from The Little Mermaid. So whatever feelings you have about the company, the ears, it's a good song. And I'm just going to keep painting. I won't sing the whole thing, I promise. Okay, but first, do we like this? Do we like these weird blues I've got going on here? I kind of dig it. Yeah, play music for your dad. That's awesome. I don't know what I want to do over here, but maybe I'll figure it out whilst I start singing. And I also, like, I've adjusted The Little Mermaid. Like, I've made my own version of it, so I don't sing it exactly the way that it's sung in the movie. I need another flower. Oh! We're going to do the Cosmo with this pink, because I've got the perfect pink for it. All right, here we go. Look at this thing. Isn't it neat? It is neat. Wouldn't you say my collection's complete? Wouldn't you say I'm the girl who has everything? I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's it's and what's it's galore. You want thingamabobs? I got 20. Oh my gosh, I'm such a goofball. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. Carol says, song is a universal means of communicating, and the human voice is the most natural instrument. I want to be where the people are. I wanna see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them again? Feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along on that, what's its name again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. I wish I could be part of that world. Anyway, that is a song I sing to my daughter every night, and she goes, mermaid, 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 mermaid. That's what she says. And I clearly got cut up in my song because my Cosmo suffered. I love the Little Mermaid. I love the new one too, so much. And I try to do the high one because the new Little Mermaid, I think she goes, wish I could be, like she goes high. And then she goes, part of that. Yeah, I can't do that. Woo! But I love how she goes into that range. Woo! One thing I am noticing, so I used a lot of this beam, which I've never used it before. And what was very surprising to me and what caught me a little off guard and kind of tricked me a little is that it was very staining. So staining. Look at that. So I was not expecting that, so I didn't plan for it and got myself a little hung up, but we'll fix it. There's the other verse that I don't sing to her yet because Girly is sassy, where it's like, betcha on land they'd understand and they won't reprimand their daughters. I'm like, I'm not singing that to her yet because she's going to get some ideas. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand. Yeah, but I love that verse. I'm ready to know what the people know. Ask my questions and get some answers like, what's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn. See, a little line work goes a long way. Now, I'm going to stop there because I want to just let that dry and see like how it feels once it dries. Because again, this little beam bugger, super staining, as was this, because I was mixing in a little bit of that and a little bit of my own purple, which my purple isn't a high staining. So, but there's some really fun stuff happening here. Now, I want to stop here. Remember how I talk about being kind to yourself? Looks like the tangled flower. Remember how I talk about being kind to yourself when you're in a moment of struggle bus? Find small moments that you love. And I do actually, there's more than one that I'm okay with here. But there's some really interesting things happening right there. I'm going to pull this up a little bit so you can see that really fun that I didn't expect to happen. Yeah. And I got splotches everywhere. It's okay. It's okay. But I do love these blues. So I'm thinking about the stem. Some more of this green. I'm going to go to the beam, this green here. Let's see if it has, what do they call it? Milkweed. So PW6, PB 15.1, and PY74 if you are a pigment nerd. I mean that lovingly and kindly. Someone yelled at me once, yelled in quotes, in a comment because they said that I was being mean by calling folks pigment nerds. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I like wish I was a pigment nerd, but I'm not. Go down here for a little balance. I actually love, like, you see me looking up at the screen because I can see my painting from a completely different vantage point. That's why stepping away from your painting is so important. And I love being live because of the way that I'm connected with all the different devices. I can see, I have a monitor basically, and I can see what I'm doing. How do you know which green to use? I really rely on my instincts. I decided here that two things affected my decisions. I really wanted to use these beam paints that I just got recently. And I wanted to kind of go after a more stylized look to the greenery, and decided I wasn't going to have, like, traditional dahlia leaves as my goal. And that was it. That was it. That was it. Mm-hmm. Gonna glaze a little bit. Oh, that's pretty. Do you see what I did? I glazed a little bit of this milkweed over top of that leaf I was working on before. Ooh, so good. Really good. Really enjoy that. What else? The colors go with this painting. Oh, thank you. The colors that go in this painting are my absolute favorite. This is a fun one, and I think why it's working so far, it's starting to work. Like there's a rumbling of it working. We've got all the bright, intense stuff that I started with, and then like step down intensity here, and then we've got the muted moments that are coming in now with the greenery, that I think is really interesting. But what I want to do. And we've got a nice balance. Like we've got some like compositional triangle stuff going on here. That's really, sorry, I got hung off my paper. That's really drawing your eye right here. Cause obviously we can't fight it. This is our focal point, y'all. We can't fight it, but yeah. So, I like the balance. Bright, saturated versus muted and more opaque. And the bright colors are a little bit more sheer. I love doing this, and I'm going to mix one of my favorite just rich dark colors that I love to use. So on my palette, it's going to be my blue. I'm going to get some water in there for the love. So the blue, rinse. I don't feel like getting this palette messy. For whatever reason, I just don't. The brown, a little more blue, and maybe a skosh of red. All right. Now, I love this dark color. I want to put it there. Let's start. It's filler greens, but they're not actually green. We need more intensity. We need more opacity. Here we go. So press, drag, lift, and do some airy stuff for stems. Press, drag, and lift. Press, drag, and lift. Press, drag, and lift. Let's leave it there for now. I love that contrast. Love that so much. I'm going to do a little down here, but just a press and lift, emanating between these two petals, press and lift. And then maybe a little hint of a stem. Oh, there we go. Nice. Now I'm going to stop doing that because I don't want to do too much. I want to let my eyes like rest and make a decision. Hi, Brittany. Hello. Hello. We've been live for a long time. I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? I need to know what time it is. It is. Ooh. Been live for 2 hours. Thank you, Sky Dancer. Thank you. Okay. So that's fun. That gives me a little more visual cues, if you will. I'm going to go take another looky-loo at this center of this dahlia, and I need to find a way to make this center look bigger. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do that because it's out of whack. It's out of whack. I'm going to my Triple Zera, this bad boy from the Free From Fear collection. And I need her back down here for the love. Okay. I think what I can do, that's too green. I think what I can do is start to, with a thicker paint, meaning less water, so like a syrupy texture, go out here and add some more of the pollen stuff. Like I'm making like almost like dots. You're probably not gonna be able to see it well on camera, but hopefully eventually here we will have gotten the idea. And then I'm gonna take this dark color here that's just drying on my palette. Let me show you. Just some pink that this has got some of that beam staining, which I think will actually help me in this case. And making sure there's not a bead of paint on my brush because that would be too much with this little teeny tiny brush. And I'm going to go define out here a little bit in the hopes that that will help my center appear a little bigger. Just a few marks that look like they could be part of the center. Yeah, and that's already kind of opening that up a little bit. But I'm going to leave that be for now. I'm going to let that go. I don't have enough information to feel like I'm confident in continuing those kind of marks there. But I do know that those couple of marks that I made were successful in accomplishing what I was hoping, which was starting to make the center look bigger. Liner brush time. Oh my gosh, this liner brush has like glue all over it because I was trying to get it to stay still in a photo. One of the keys to line work that feels kind of effortless is to not make the lines continuous, to make them not continuous, little dash marks, little, some of them are going to be continuous and that's cool, but it starts to feel like a little much when you have all of the line work in a petal just so exact and similar. Kind of sketching over top of this to define that a little more because that was one of the areas that felt very undefined. I feel like my watercolor style has been developed out of a need to recreate happy accidents and also a need to correct issues that come up. And out of that, I have developed a style. Whatever. I am more heavy-handed with watercolor. And so, yeah, I have little things that I do that kind of help me maintain some semblance of realism in my paintings when I am too heavy-handed too quickly. Oh yeah, I did find my red frames, Carol. Yeah. Oh yeah, my hair. I've got a little yellow in my ribbon today. You're right. Totally. Totally. So fun. Do something over here. That really didn't do much. Darken that up a little. liner brush, I don't care if it's synthetic or natural bristles, is going to beg to be reloaded often, especially on cold press paper. Just some fun. I'll double dip there for, don't want a bead on the end of that, or you're going to have a little bubble on your paper. I'm laying the groundwork for some filler here and purposely going over top of some things that I've painted earlier. Just setting the groundwork there. Decisions. Getting the 1/4 1/8 dagger. There you are. Oh, Tracy, I'm glad you're here. Donna, thanks for being here. Friends, if you're still here with me and having a great time, go ahead and give this video a boop because I'm having a good time. And I'd like to know if you are. I'm being bold. I'm getting some red filler just to press and lift with varying pressure, varying angles, twisting my brush even a little bit as I lift. If you can catch that. I think this was a risk. This is a big risk because this red is the most staining in my set, but I think it paid off. I like this like swaggy effect that I've built here. And it is by design. I do a lot of that swaggy look, but sometimes it works better than others. And I think this time it's working quite nicely. Then I'm just doing some really thin that aren't even connected. Okay, enough. Back away, Christy. But I do like that. And this area here isn't resolved yet. And I'm okay with that. There's so much in a painting. And this is maybe what we call the ugly phase. But there's so much in a painting at so many different times while you paint where there's so much unresolved. Be okay with things being unresolved. You have to be. That's just the process. It's the process. I'm sorry. Hope my face isn't communicating like sass or like, get it together. How could you not think this? That's not my intention. My face says 1,000 million things while I might be speaking 5 words. I've always been told that. Like my facial expressions are really a lot. But there's that gal on TikTok. And she became famous from eating like the chicken sausage and the green beans and mustard. And her facial expressions, I think, are why people like were drawn to her. And now she like just is over the top with them. She has this thing for something called crispy bread. And when she says crispy bread, her face is just hysterical. And I sometimes feel like I'm vibing with her. Yeah. I forget her handle. Anywho, I told you today, friends, it's my birthday. I'm going to do and say and paint what I want. And I believe I've done that. I believe I've been significantly strange today. Yeah, so thanks for being here with me. Miriam, your ugly face is my damn baby face. That would, oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. I don't think it's damp enough. So Jennifer said, add some bleed proof white into that red right when it was wet, but it's not wet. I have the fan on and it's actually dried really quickly. Let me try that because I like that suggestion so much. Where's my bleed proof? It's worth it. All right. So bleed proof white. Don't drop it for the love, Christy Rice. And ooh, my bleed proof white is gross. Something happened. There's like a science experiment going on inside of it. Kind of working. I mean, I like it, but I know what Jennifer is suggesting, that it would like do creepy crawlies in there, and it's not wet enough to do that. But I like that. I may add more, but I'm going to leave it for now. It's really pretty. Let me hold it up so you can see it. See that? That's pretty. I like it. Good thinking, hubby's taking me out to dinner like at 4:30. I'm like, what are you doing? We are not 70. No offense to anyone who's 70. My parents are 70. They don't eat that early. But, you know, like the joke, like, you know, the older you get, the earlier you eat dinner. He's like, it's the only reservation I can get. I'm like, I'm not. You fed me that bagel this morning. He doesn't understand. We'll see. All right, what do I want to do now? I keep picking this up. What is my brain trying to tell me? I keep picking this up. I really don't feel like I need to do any more of that. I want to get something going on with this color. This color, the first time I used it was in the blue video. Did you notice? She's behind me, the painting. And did anybody see the magic of that blue on top of my fuchsia? Okay, control yourself. But I think that's what's going to resolve. Remember earlier on, if you've been here the whole time, God bless you. Remember earlier on where I said this part is so unresolved, I don't like it, but I'm going to step away? Well, I'm back, baby. And you about to get resolved. Yeah. Now, I know it looks weird. Just wait. You about to get resolved. This is watercolor, but there is a lot of PW6 in this, if I had to guess, which is, I believe it's just titanium white. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Lori, you're recovering. I'm so sorry. My father, I'm glad I'm making you feel better. My father just got out of quarantine, still has a cough. God bless him. He's 77 and got it for the first time. And, but he did very well. So we are very grateful. I was worried, I'm not going to lie. I'm a woman of faith, but man, do I still worry like a child. Okay, let's step away. I'm going to step away. That looks weird because it looks weird, but I'm going to step away because there's many reasons I need to step away, and I'll come back to it later. But it's better. It's better. PW6, yeah. No, it's not. It's not mixed with gouache. It's all the pigment white, PW6. It's just opaque. Yeah, but it's not classified as a gouache. It literally says professional handmade watercolors, Beam. Yeah. Let's go back to that Cosmo, and I'm going to have to be careful not to lay my hand in things, but I think this blue is actually going to also help me with the Cosmo. Friends, I've always been a fan of pushing the opacity of watercolor. Always. Such a fan. So what I'm going to try to do is reshape these petals that just felt very more daisy-like than Cosmo-like. I'm going to just start reshaping them by adding some linear work here. And we'll see how it goes. It's not a bad flower. It just doesn't look like a Cosmo. And it may never. I'm okay with that. But it's definitely not a bad flower. There is no such thing as bad flower. Even the ugliest flower that you've ever painted, it's not a bad flower. It's a stamp. It's like a stamp in your passport. It's like a stamp in your creative flippin' passport. Put that on a t-shirt. I think I'm dehydrated. I'm getting weird. But yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda, we share a last name. Thank you, Sue. Carol says, the more I watch you, the more I learn, and the more I appreciate that you are so much more than just a pretty face and an awesome artist. Thank you. Thank you. No one's ever said I'm more than a pretty face. And that means a lot. That's lovely. This color, I'll tell you what, I may stock this. I may stock this in my shop because this color has gorgeous coverage and could be such a nice addition to the Art for Joy's Sake palette. If you weren't here earlier, I am actually for our holiday shop. Sorry, friends on replay. Who knows when you're watching this? But for our holiday shop, I am going to be offering some Beam paints. Really excited. And you're probably like, Christy, you make your own paints. Why would you do that? Because this is a big world and competition, schmompetition. And I may grab some of these because this is delectable and could be so useful for you in so many scenarios in your painting. And I love that I can just hold it like that. Anywho, looks like it granulates a little bit with the green too. All right. This is Beam Paints. It is called, yeah, I don't know what this says, but in my brain said milkweed before, but it's not. It's Miquum. Miquum and Ice. MKWUM apostrophe AANDE Ice. I think I mentioned earlier, these are made by an indigenous team, family. I don't know the full story. Forgive me. So that makes way more sense than what my eyes interpreted when I first looked at that label. Or maybe this one was milkweed? Nope. Wow. Anywho, pick one. That is a First Nations here in Canada. So is indigenous probably, well, that might be the right word. Let me know. Milkweed was the green. Okay. Wow. I was just like totally in my right brain, correct? Yeah. Or indigenous. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. All right, friends, it has been a blast painting with you today. I have so enjoyed you just indulging me with time to just sit and paint my dahlias and wax poetic and sing. And I know I need more time. Yes. So thank you for being here with me and for all of your love and all of your sweet words, birthday wishes and all the things. And until next time, I wish you so much happy painting.